Hey guys, how's it going for everyone today? Aaj bada kem cho? Aaj sab kaise ho? Hopefully you guys are all having an amazing day like I am. And because I'm in such a good, or you can even say great mood, I decided to make an advanced level video, okay? And this is on the Scorpio. This is a very specific advanced level video, okay? This is primarily focused on the Scorpio and 8th house energies in general, okay? Most of the information I'm about to say, you're probably not going to be able to find it very easily, or you're not going to be able to find it at all. Okay, it's probably if you're not able to find it, if it did exist, it probably got lost somewhere throughout time or history, or if it might be hard to find. It might be like hidden somewhere. This is definitely not all. This is too much common general knowledge. Okay, this is not going to be This is not going to be like the basic Scorpio information you'll see on some other video. Okay, so just throwing that out there. So if you guys do like this advanced but also specific content I'm about to say, you can let me know by liking the video or commenting or sending me an email or doing just somehow letting me know. Okay, you can just like the video if you don't want to say anything. But if I get the feeling that this is not this is a little bit too specific or too advanced, I might not make this kind of video too much anymore. Okay, or at least not for a while until I give it another shot. Okay, so, but I'll go ahead and get started. So, the Scorpio energies, right? Or 8th house energies. So, I'm going to make a pretty big claim here, and I'm going to tell you why. So, if you look at any planet, okay, let's just say Jupiter or Saturn, right? Jupiter owns 2 houses, Saturn owns 2 houses. Most planets own 2 houses. Jupiter owns 9 and 12, and Saturn owns 10 and 11. If you take the sign energies of one of the planet's signs with respect to the other. So what do I mean by this? Jupiter owns 9 and 12. So if you take the 12th from the 9th or 9th from the 12th, what happens? You end up at either like the 8th house or Scorpio, depending on if you're looking at it from the perspective of signs or houses, okay? Same thing with Saturn. If you take the 10th from the 11th or the 11th from the 10th, you're going to end up at the 8th or Scorpio. You can apply this concept to any planet, okay, that owns houses. Venus, if you take the 2nd from the 7th or the 7th from the 2nd. Mars, if you take obviously the 8th from the 1st or the 1st from the 8th. And Mercury, if you take the 3rd from the 6th or the 6th from the 3rd. For all 3 of those, you also end up at Scorpio or the 8th house, okay? And I know Sun and Moon only own one sign each, but they own Cancer and Leo respectively, the moon and the sun, which is 4 and 5. So if you take the 5th from the 4th or the 4th from the 5th, you'll also end up at Scorpio or the 8th house, right? So this is not a coincidence. And what is the claim I'm about to make here? The claim is that I just explained to you how the energies of each of the planet's signs, when you compound them, kind of like I did, you always end up at Scorpio. So this means, and these planets own signs that kind of fulfill the whole cycle of the zodiac belt, you can say. So when you compound any planet's energies, you end up at Scorpio. So this means, the claim is that Scorpio, or the 8th house, which you could say represents, at a general sense, intuition. Let's just say that. Intuition, or Scorpio, or the 8th house in general, is the most important factor for helping you personally, spiritually, go through the cycle of the zodiac belt. Okay? And I'm going to add 3 components on this to help support my claim. But what I mean by that claim, first of all, before I kind of get to the 3 subcomponents, is that Scorpio, or the 8th house, or intuition in general, is the most important for you to kind of keep the ball rolling, okay? Because all signs are important to kind of finish the whole zodiac cycle, okay? But Scorpio is the most important to kind of, like I said, propel that progress so that you keep going and keep going around and keep advancing and gaining wisdom spiritually. Okay, now the 3 claims I'm going to make to help support this claim. 1, you guys know that if you guys watch my videos, that I very, very highly value the end section of the zodiac. Okay, the last fire to water cycle. What do I mean by this? Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, okay? These 4 signs are the last 4 signs of the zodiac belt. They're one fire to water cycle, and they're both owned by, all the 4 of the signs are owned by 2 planets, okay? Jupiter, which owns Sagittarius and Pisces, and Saturn, which owns Capricorn and Aquarius, okay? This belt, or this section of the zodiac belt, is the most important directly for your spiritual progress, okay? Indirectly, they're all kind of important, but directly, those are the most important. Now, also, you probably heard me say before, but I'm going to add this point to connect it to this video topic, is that Scorpio comes right before this 4, okay? So Scorpio, which is intuition, is very, very, very important to unlock, I guess you can say, those final directly spiritual important energies of the zodiac, okay? You've probably heard me in my other videos say, without intuition, which is what Scorpio represents, what do these 4 things represent? Sagittarius, which represents kind of religious learning in general, right? So without intuition, like if you try to take a kid to a temple without any intuition, he's not going to learn that much. If you try to take a kid without any intuition, without Scorpio, and try to, discipline him or anything like that, it's not going to work out that well, at least deep down, right? They're not going to, they might do things externally, but that discipline is not going to sink down deep in because they don't understand. If you try to get a kid to do the right thing, they might do the right thing, but without the intuition, they're not going to do it. And sometimes you do notice kids going to temple, or kids having discipline, or kids doing the right thing, which is what Sagittarius, Capricorn, and Aquarius represent, or Pisces, not doing the things, or kind of detaching from things that they need to. You do notice kids doing this. It's probably because they have a good intuition, okay? Intuition, which is Scorpio or 8th house energies in general, highly help you kind of access the final 4 energies, or the final fire to waters cycle sign energies of Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, okay? And these 4 are kind of the 4 that most of us in the material world don't want to do, right? Because these are the direct, most spiritually enlightening signs, you can say, okay? That's why Jupiter and Saturn are so important to us. So these are the energies that are less primal in nature, okay? The primal things we have no problem with, like Taurus and things like that, okay? The earlier signs, because those are more primal. Those are kind of direct, from a direct standpoint, the farthest away from the spiritual world and more closest to the material world, okay? But so that's the first thing, is that Scorpio helps unlock this, which kind of, this is the section of the zodiac that we don't want to do as much, at least from a material standpoint. So it helps you kind of access these energies more, which kind of keeps the flow going, okay? Because after Pisces, you get right back to Aries, and the cycle keeps going, okay? Second claim I'm about to make to support, second sub-component I'm about to say to support my original claim that Scorpio is the most important for I guess you can say, the zodiac energies to continue to keep cycling, is that look at Jupiter, okay? Jupiter is the most highly spiritual benefic planet, okay? And let's say Jupiter's main sign is Sagittarius, right? So if you're a Sagittarius rising, where does your Jupiter get exalted? It gets exalted in Cancer. Now, if you're Sagittarius rising, you notice that Cancer is in the 8th house. Now, a good spiritually inclined or elevated astrologer would notice that, oh man, Jupiter gets exalted in the 8th house. And the 8th house is coined as a Dustana, or a really bad house, okay? Why is this? Well, this is supportive of my claim that you need intuition to keep going, okay? This is the second subcomponent of the claim, okay? Jupiter gets exalted in Cancer. Notice that Cancer is not one of Jupiter's signs, okay? And for more information on this, you can watch my own sign versus exalted video, okay? Jupiter gets exalted in Cancer, and for a Sagittarius rising, which is Jupiter's main sign, it gets exalted in the 8th house, okay? So intuition here is very, very important for Jupiter to when it's in its most peak spot. What I mean by that is, your first house is very important to you as a whole. So when you basically are I guess you can say your first house is, Jupiter's main sign, its most spiritually elevated spot is the 8th house. Okay, and for just to quickly summarize, exalted is not the planet's preferred placement. Okay, that would be one of its own signs. Exalted is the place that is the spiritually, not necessarily materially best, but the spiritually best spot for a planet. Okay, and for Jupiter, if Sagittarius is your ascendant and that's Jupiter's main sign, the spiritually best spot for Jupiter is going to be the 8th house. Okay, which is where Cancer is. Okay, so that's my second claim, that if you're a very more spiritually elevated person, that you can see here how important intuition is to continue your spiritual growth and spiritual learning and spiritual wisdom. Okay, so I explained the first 2 points, and now the third point is who owns Scorpio? Mars, right? Mars is the only planet, and I described some of this in my Mars and Aries transit video, but Mars is the only planet that when it sits in one sign, it fully aspects the other one. Okay, so when it sits in Aries, it fully aspects Scorpio. Okay, it's the only planet that when it sits in one sign, fully aspects the other. Okay, and there is a reason for this. The reason is because okay, the first house represents what? Or Aries, right? Aries represents what? It represents, I guess you can say, new changes, right? So when the zodiac belt is complete, right? Like you go from Aries, Taurus, all the way around to Aquarius and Pisces. You start at Aries, and there's new changes involved. Well, and Mars is the ruler of Aries, right? So it's a natural, I guess you can say, of new changes, you can say, okay? Mars, when it's in Aries, it has to have an influence from Scorpio by default, okay? And why? And by that, I mean it has to aspect the 8th house of Scorpio. Why? Because in order to continue the cycle again and continue going, you need that intuition that has been gained, I guess you can say, to make the changes in the right direction, I guess you can say, okay? And to start things off strong, but also in an intuitive way, okay? I describe a little bit more of this in my Mars and Aries video, but also it's like when you're making new changes, you're constantly, developing intuition as you make those changes, right? And changes is very important. That's why it's the first sign of Aries. Intuition is very important to continue the changes in the right direction. So that's why Mars aspects Scorpio as well as owns it. Okay, owning the first sign and sitting in the first sign. Okay, so as you can see here, Scorpio is very important in that regard to I guess you can say continue the cycle of the zodiac, right? Because you always want to. It's very important to start strong, right? So you can have a strong foundation to continue throughout the zodiac belt until you end up right there. Okay, so the Mars, I kind of showed like how you got to start strong. The Pisces through Sagittarius, the Sagittarius through Pisces final fire to water sign section. I showed how it's important, how Scorpio is very heavily involved in finishing the zodiac belt, so starting, finishing. And Jupiter, I showed how Scorpio, or the 8th house, is at the 8th house, or intuition in general, is very, very important for I guess you can say the highest level of spiritual elevation in general, which is what Jupiter represents. If you're a Sagittarius rising, or just the Sagittarius energies in general, because Cancer is 8th from Sagittarius, regardless of if it's your Lugna or not. Okay, and Jupiter is the main spiritual guru, I guess you can say. So even the guru respects. Okay, from my most preferred spot, I know that intuition is going to take me in the right direction. Okay, so hopefully you guys understood in this video that what my advanced tip was about the Scorpio or 8th house energies, which was that intuition is the most important factor to, or Scorpio and 8th house energies, which is you can coin as intuition, is the most important to continue the flow properly of the zodiac belt. Okay, so hopefully you guys like this video. If you did, you can show me a like button if you want me to make more videos like this. But if you have any questions or comments, as usual, you can always let me know in the comment section, or you can email me. My email is in my bio. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, talk to you guys later. Thank you.